You know what sucks? We've got to wait 13 more days to play the damn game. I think if you would ask the players and the coaches privately, they'd all say they'd like to just get the damn game over and play next Sunday in Houston instead of waiting 13 more days. That's the reality. But no. We've got to have X number of Papa John's and Budweiser and Tostito commercials to get ready for the big game. We've got to let the NFL have the hype machine get ready. Oh, by the way, did you hear Super Bowl ticket sales are a little slower than expected? Gee, like the game isn't going to sell out? Are we really worried about that one? Bottom line is this. The next week is just going to be boredom. We're going to have all the TMZ moments. Newsflash, this player, cracked fingernail. Will he be available? Newsflash, these players spotted at a nightclub. Were they breaking curfew? You know, who cares? But it's the hype machine. We've got to have it. But the reality is, the game would probably be much better if it was played this Sunday. Because I go back to what I said in yesterday's video report. How did the bye week serve the Patriots against Houston a week and a half ago? Not too well, did it? It clearly showed you that the Patriots, such a well-oiled machine coming down the stretch, they were out of sync against Houston. Now, they got their mojo back yesterday against Pittsburgh, that's for damn sure. But I think all the players, all the coaches, players, coaches, they're people of habit. They want to get in that routine. Having a week off at this stage of the season, it's great if you got little nagging injuries, but otherwise, I think to the man privately, they tell you they'd rather play the game right now, on schedule, this Sunday, and get it over with in Houston and go for all the marbles. Now, what did we learn from yesterday's games? And I'll get to your free pick here in just a moment for Monday. Well, if you went to the mainstream media sites yesterday, which now, of course, in the past couple of years where gambling is becoming more acceptable, you found nothing but the obvious. Oh, by the way, both favorites covered yesterday, which means favorites went 8-2 so far in the playoffs. Oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers' touchdown pass to Jared Cook with 6.5 minutes to go pushed the Packers and the Falcons over the posted price. Yes, these are the golden tidbits that I was able to discover along with you out there and all the other would-be gamblers and numbers freaks at the mainstream media sites yesterday. Yes, like who the hell cares? Your third graders out there could have figured those gleaming little tidbits out on their own. But let's take a look at these games. And yes, this is your 13-day in advance Super Bowl preview. Let's talk about New England and Pittsburgh. What did we learn? Absolutely nothing, because that game was over the minute Le'Veon Bell went out with the hamstring pull because the Steelers weren't able to run the ball. And if I'm the Falcons, the one game that's most important to me to look at this season is that Seattle game, when the Seahawks went into New England and pulled that major upset, when they scored on 8 of 9 possessions. And how did they do it that night? Because that was the night C.J. Prosise was healthy, maybe for the one time this entire season. And he ran 17 times for 69 yards. And he was just a hell of a player out of the backfield on the receiving end of so many passes for Russell Wilson as well. And that Seahawks offense was humming that night because they had a ground game. In order to move the ball effectively against the Patriots, you've got to be able to run the ball, and you've got to have a running back that can catch the ball. Well, gee, the Falcons have that. Now, they don't necessarily have it in one player, but the combination of Freeman and Coleman, they've got that. Freeman, the better runner, Coleman, the faster runner, but the better receiver out of the backfield. Now, we saw with the Patriots, they were unable to put a hand on Ben Roethlisberger because they don't have a great pass rush. They have a very good secondary, and they have Malcolm Butler back there as well. But as you saw with Matt Ryan, he's going to spread the ball around to 8 and 9 receivers, just like Tom Brady is going to do as well. Now, let's flip sides. If you're the Patriots coaching staff, the one game that means the most to you this year is the game that the Falcons lost at Philadelphia probably in the middle of the season. Now, yesterday, Falcons-Packers, it was a no-brainer because just like Seattle, Green Bay could not run the ball. Well, if you're not going to be able to keep Matt Ryan on the sideline by having an effective ground game, well, you're asking for trouble because that Falcons offense is going to be on the field too much, and it's going to pick apart and wear down your defense and pick apart your secondary. But I go back to that game that they lost 24-15 at Philadelphia. What did Philadelphia do in that game? 429 total yards, time of possession, 38 minutes. And why? I'm looking at the box score right here because they ran the ball 38 times for 208 yards in that game. They had 76 total plays in that game. The Falcons only had 48. And that's the key. You got to keep Matt Ryan on the sideline. Well, you know what that means. LeGarrette Blount is going to have to get his number called often. Dion Lewis is going to have his number called often. You're going to have to see the Patriots effectively run the ball 25, 30 times, because the longer drives that they sustain, the more time Matt Ryan sits on the sideline. And listen, the Falcons, they can talk about Vic Beasley all they want, but the Falcons couldn't put a hand on Russell Wilson, even though Seattle had a lousy offensive line, and they weren't able to put much of a hand on Aaron Rodgers either, and they're not going to be able to put hands on Tom Brady. And yet, isn't it kind of surprising that this total is lower for this game than it was for the Packers-Falcons game yesterday? Go figure, right? As I warned you yesterday going into that game, 9 times out of 10 that the conference championship games are blowouts, and more often than not, that remained the case yesterday. Terribly one-sided games. So going back again to the NFL-AFL merger back in 1970, you've now had 84 games, and 66 of them, 78.6% of them, have been decided by at least a touchdown. 43 of them, over half of them, 51.2% of them, have been decided by 2 touchdowns or more. So we'll have lots of Super Bowl stats as we get closer to the game. But for now, we can just dwell on how many Papa John's commercials you're going to see over the next couple of weeks with Peyton Manning. Let's talk about the free pick here for today's contest. A video report, of course, I won yesterday, another free pick winner in the NFL with the Patriots. Today, college basketball. Listen, we're talking about a bottom-of-the-barrel free selection here, okay? I'm going to go with the Portland Pilots. The last time I took the Portland Pilots as a free pick, probably never in my life, okay? Probably never. But I'm willing to take them as a 23.5-point favorite at home tonight against unbeaten Gonzaga, because this is a rescheduled game, from January 7th that was snowed out. Well, these two just played in Spokane on Gonzaga's home floor on Saturday night. So how strange is this? A home-and-home series in college basketball. Now, Gonzaga won 73-52 on Saturday at home. They didn't even come close to covering the 32.5-point spread, because what Portland did was they drained the clock on every single possession. You can't blame them. They don't have the talent to hang with Gonzaga. And they did a good job on the boards. They had 21 offensive rebounds, and they converted them into 19 second-chance points. Well, when you consider they only had 52 points in the game, 19 of them came on the dirty work that they did. They shot 45.3%. One of the keys, though, however, in this rematch is going to be the health of Nigel Williams-Goss, who had 15 points, the leading scorer for Gonzaga. He suffered a hard fall with about 5 minutes to go in that game, hit his hip hard. He traveled with the team for this game. God knows if he's going to play tonight. I mean, he's questionable for this contest. He averages 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists a game. Now, Gonzaga scored 73 points, but that was well under their season averages of 85 points on 51% shooting from the field. Pilots lost their starting point guard, their senior starting point guard, to a ACL injury in the game prior, and they found out about it Saturday before this game. 5th straight loss for them. They've allowed between 70 and 79 points in each of those games. Portland only shot 32.2% in that loss, and yet they hung around. Here's the thing. Is Gonzaga going to be that motivated? Really? I mean, the Zags just beat you by 21 points at home, and they didn't play that well. Are they going to be going and looking at the point spread and going, oh, my God, we didn't cover the spread when we were 32.5-point favorites on Saturday night at home. We got to cover the spread tonight, laying 23.5 points. Do they care? Do they really care? I just don't know. So I'm willing to take Portland plus the points. But on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of the rating of this complimentary play, is it possible to give it like a -1? That's how little I value this complimentary play, and that's how little I value this card. Listen, I got one play tonight. It's the game between UL Lafayette and Texas Arlington, and I probably challenge 98% of you out there. You can probably name one of those team nicknames, but I dare you to name both of them, okay? I mean, I looked at the Duke game against NC State, but, the Dukies are 16.5, 17-point favorites at home tonight. And even though they have Emil Jefferson back and, they have a full complement of players, and NC State has just been miserable and has failed to cover 5 straight games on the road, do you really feel comfortable laying that many points with Duke? And the flip side would be, well, why not grab the points with NC State? Do you really feel comfortable grabbing the points with an NC State squad that lost 107-56 at North Carolina, lost 74-66 at Boston College, lost 81-63 at Miami of Florida to go 0-3 so far on the ACC road again? So given the choice of the lesser of two evils, I decided to go ahead and grab the points with the Portland Pilots at home tonight as your complimentary play. Would I bet it? Are you kidding? But hey, it's a complimentary play, and I've won a hell of a lot of them, so you never know. It's a 50-50 betting opportunity, right? Good luck. Oh, by the way, here at the site yesterday, every single handicapper either had Atlanta or New England, I believe, except for, unfortunately, hey, I'm going to call him out, except Brad Wilton, who had Pittsburgh. Couple of guys had losing totals. Chuck O'Brien knows all too well about Aaron Rodgers' late touchdown pass because that cost him the under. And Eric Schroeder, of course, lost with the total in the Patriots game. But otherwise, it was a great day yesterday here for the site. Chris Jordan won again. Now 8-0, 7-0? 7-0 lifetime with triple your wager NFL releases as he cashed in last night with the Patriots. And of course, Anthony Redd with a fifth straight 105-50 dime winner as he scored yesterday on the early game with the Falcons. His last 150 dime play before that was Clemson over Alabama. So not a shabby run for either one of those guys. Good luck, everybody, and I'll talk to you again on Tuesday.